In the world of music, landing a #1 album on the Billboard 200 is a milestone that signifies an artist's commercial peak. Yet, even some of pop's most recognizable stars have never reached that pinnacle. In this video, we look at 10 of the biggest artists with no #1 albums. Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa burst onto the scene in the mid-2010s with her deep, distinctive voice and magnetic stage presence. Her self-titled debut album in 2017 catapulted her to superstardom, featuring hits like New Rules that turned her into a household name. However, it was her sophomore album, Future Nostalgia, that truly cemented her as a global superstar, receiving critical acclaim for blending modern pop with disco influences. Despite its critical and commercial success, Future Nostalgia only peaked at #3 on the Billboard 200. The album was held back by stiff competition, but it remained a long-running chart presence and earned Grammy Awards, proving its staying power. For many fans and critics, it was a pop masterpiece, even if it fell short of topping the charts. Her latest album, Radical Optimism, debuted and peaked at #2, only behind the third week of Taylor's The Tortured Poets Department. But Dua Lipa has done well on the UK charts, scoring 2 #1 albums. She hasn't really broken through to the top spot in the US, despite her undeniable impact. She also doesn't have a #1 song on the Hot 100. Shakira. Shakira's influence in music spans decades. She became a global sensation with hits like Whenever Wherever, Hips Don't Lie, and Waka Waka, This Time for Africa. Her albums are often celebrated worldwide, but surprisingly, none have managed to reach #1 on the Billboard 200. The closest she came to achieving the top spot was with Laundry Service in 2001, which peaked at #3. This album introduced her to a global English-speaking audience and featured hits that dominated the charts. Other albums like Fijación Oral Volume 1 and Oral Fixation Volume 2 reached respectable positions, but never captured the top spot. Shakira's strength has always been her global appeal. While she has a massive following in Latin America, Europe, and beyond, the US market has been a tougher battleground for chart dominance. Her versatility and bilingual releases sometimes split focus, but her cultural impact speaks for itself, even without a #1 album in the US. Doja Cat. Doja Cat's career skyrocketed in recent years thanks to her genre-blending sound, viral hits, and a relentless work ethic. Songs like Say So, Kiss Me More featuring SZA, and Paint the Town Red have made her one of the most streamed artists in the world. Her personality and ability to go viral have turned her into a mainstay of modern pop and hip-hop. Doja's 2021 album, Planet Her, reached #2 on the Billboard 200, solidifying her status as a major force in music. It featured multiple top 10 singles and stayed on the chart for an extended period, showing her strong presence and consistency. And her latest album, Scarlet, only peaked at #4 on the Billboard 200. Even though her projects did well, a #1 album in the US still evades her. The nature of streaming and competition from established heavyweights can make reaching the top challenging. Doja's popularity in streaming often translates more into single dominance, while her album debuts face hurdles from other big-name releases. Lizzo. Few artists can command attention like Lizzo. Her infectious confidence and message of self-love resonated through hits like Truth Hurts, Good as Hell, and Juice. With her powerhouse voice and bold presence, Lizzo became an overnight sensation, though she was anything but an overnight success. Her breakout album, 'Cause I Love You, peaked at #4 back in 2019. It dominated charts and won her Grammys. Her next album, Special, also did well, but peaked at #2, blocked by Bad Bunny's Un Verano Sin Ti, which was in its 11th week. Lizzo's rise was fueled more by her singles than initial album chart performance. Though her albums are critically acclaimed, she has never been able to sell huge figures. She is still a pop culture phenomenon regardless. Jason Derulo. For over a decade, Jason Derulo has churned out hit after hit. From What You Say to Talk Dirty to Savage Love, his smooth voice, dance moves, and knack for catchy hooks made him a staple of radio and streaming playlists. However, despite all the single success, his albums have yet to hit #1. They often perform modestly compared to his singles. While he has 2 chart-topping singles and a massive social media following, none of his albums have climbed to the summit of the Billboard 200. He came closest with Talk Dirty and Everything Is For, both of which peaked at number 4 on the Billboard 200. Jason Derulo's career has been defined by strong singles rather than cohesive albums. He is the true definition of a singles artist. He even released the greatest hits album. Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion has made an undeniable mark in rap, breaking barriers, setting new standards for female rap. Her unapologetic lyrics, bold personality, and infectious confidence have given her a place in mainstream music that few can ignore. With tracks like the Savage remix featuring Beyonce and the cultural phenomenon WAP with Cardi B, Megan is no stranger to the number 1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100. She even got a number 1 this year with Hiss. But when it comes to albums, the story is different. Her debut studio album, Good News, peaked at number 2 back in 2020, which is still her highest charting album. It was praised for its empowering message and banger tracks, but it couldn't clinch the top spot. It was blocked by the BTS album B. Even though her name is huge, her albums don't seem to sell that much, with Good News being her only platinum album. But she's talented. She still has time to get that coveted number 1 album. David Guetta. David Guetta is often referred to as one of the godfathers of modern EDM, credited with bringing electronic music into the pop mainstream. The French DJ and producer has countless global hits under his belt: Titanium with Sia, Memories featuring Kid Cudi, and Hey Mama with Nicki Minaj, just to name a few. Yet, despite his superstar collaborations and his influence on pop music's sonic landscape, he has never managed to land a number 1 album in the US. One reason could be the nature of his genre. EDM albums rarely perform as well on the Billboard 200 compared to pop and rap records. Calvin Harris also has never had a number 1 album. Dance music often thrives through singles and festivals, rather than view his albums as standalone, cohesive projects. The closest he has ever gotten to a number 1 album was when Listen peaked at number 4 back in 2014. BB Rexa. BB Rexa has been a staple of pop music since her breakout collaboration on Me, Myself, and I with G-Eazy. Known for catchy hooks, unique voice, and songwriting, she has been behind hits like I'm a Mess, Meant to Be with Florida Georgia Line, and In the Name of Love with Martin Garrix. However, when it comes to her solo albums, she has struggled to reach the commercial heights of her features. Her debut album, Expectations, reached number 13 on the Billboard 200 back in 2018, which is still her highest charting album. While it produced notable singles, it just didn't manage to sell a lot of records. BB's appeal lies in her versatility, but this also means that she risks being seen as a feature artist rather than a standalone star. That perception is one of the reasons that her albums flopped. Her latest album, BB, only peaked at number 132 back in 2023. She has never been known as an album artist and has never even gotten close to a number 1 on the Billboard 200. Ava Max. Ava Max burst onto the scene in 2019 with the infectious hit Sweet But Psycho. The song was a global smash, marking her as a rising pop star to watch. Her debut studio album Heaven and Hell followed, blending catchy pop melodies with danceable beats and sharp lyrics. The album peaked at number 27 on the Billboard 200, but peaked at number 2 on the UK Albums Chart. Breaking into the upper echelons of pop isn't easy, especially trying to break into the US market, but her albums never managed to perform on the Billboard 200, with her latest album Diamonds and Dance Floors peaking at number 34. Still, Ava Max's potential is undeniable, and as she matures as an artist, a number 1 album may be on the horizon. John Legend. If there's one artist on this list who seems destined for a number 1 album, yet has never quite managed it, it is John Legend. The soulful singer-songwriter, who is one of the rare EGOT winners, as he got Grammy Awards, an Oscar, an Emmy, and even a Tony for his work, has never managed to do that well on the charts. His hit All of Me remains one of the most enduring love songs of the past decade, and his 2004 debut album Get Lifted put him on the map, but a number 1 on the Billboard 200 has eluded him. John Legend's highest charting album, Love in the Future, peaked at number 4. His brand of R&B, while timeless, often doesn't compete with more mainstream pop and hip-hop albums that dominate the charts. His music is intimate, heartfelt, and often geared toward an adult contemporary audience. While they secure critical acclaim and dedicated fans, that doesn't always translate into huge sales figures necessary for a number 1 debut. Which artist with no number 1 album did I miss? Tell me in the comments below.